Imagine for a moment that inside your body are two small, quiet workers, each no bigger than your fist. They never complain, never take a day off, and yet without them, life would slowly fade. These workers are your kidneys, and they filter every drop of blood in your body, over 200 quarts a day, pulling out the waste, balancing fluids, and even helping to keep your blood pressure steady. Most people don't think about them until something goes wrong, and by then, the damage may already be serious. I've seen too many patients reach that point, often because of everyday choices like too much processed food, too little movement, or the constant stress of modern living. But here's the hopeful truth. With the right lifestyle and diet, you can protect your kidneys, improve their function, and even lower risks of disease. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Vital Science for Seniors. Your kidneys may be small, but they are mighty. Each one works like a natural water filter, quietly processing blood all day long, removing about 2 quarts of waste and extra fluid to keep your body in balance. They also keep your blood pressure steady, much like a thermostat in a home, adjusting to what your body needs. They fine-tune your electrolytes, sodium, potassium, and phosphate, so your muscles and nerves can work properly. They activate vitamin D, giving strength to your bones, and release hormones that guide red blood cell production. Without healthy kidneys, the entire system begins to falter. When I think about the power of lifestyle in protecting the kidneys, I often remember one of my patients, Margaret. She was 67 when she came to see me, worried because her doctor told her her creatinine levels were climbing, a sign her kidneys were struggling. Margaret told me she felt tired all the time and feared dialysis was around the corner. But over the months we worked together, with simple but steady lifestyle changes, her kidney numbers improved. What I want you to hear is this. Lifestyle changes are not just a slogan. They truly can protect kidney health, slow damage, and restore a sense of control. Let's walk through these together, step by step, in a way that feels doable for you. The first and most essential habit is hydration. Think of water as the gentle river that carries away debris from a city. Without enough of it, waste piles up and the streets clog. In the same way, when you drink enough water, your kidneys can sweep away toxins efficiently. Staying hydrated also dilutes the substances in urine that can form stones, reducing your risk of painful kidney stones. Now, many people over 50 ask me, but Dr. Brian, how much water should I really drink? The general rule is about 8 glasses a day, but your needs may vary if you're active or live in a warm climate. The key is steady, moderate intake, not forcing down liters at once, which can actually strain the body. Carry a bottle, sip through the day, and remember foods like cucumbers, oranges, and watermelon count as hydration too. Margaret once laughed, telling me she set alarms on her phone to remind her to sip, and it worked wonders for her energy. Next comes movement. Exercise is like giving your kidneys a stronger pump to work with. When your heart and blood vessels are healthy, blood flows freely through the kidneys, allowing them to filter more effectively. Regular activity also lowers blood pressure and helps with weight control, 2 of the biggest enemies of kidney health. And let me reassure you, exercise doesn't have to mean running marathons. For most of my patients, walking briskly, gardening, cycling, or swimming is more than enough. The recommendation is 150 minutes of moderate activity each week, which breaks down to just 30 minutes, 5 days a week. Start with 10 minutes a day if that feels more realistic. I once worked with a gentleman named Paul who began with walking his dog around the block twice a day. Over time, his stamina grew, and so did his confidence. His blood pressure dropped, his creatinine stabilized, and he told me he felt like he had gained back 5 years of his life. Now let's talk about what we need to avoid. Smoking and heavy drinking. Cigarettes narrow and scar the blood vessels, reducing the flow of life-giving blood to the kidneys. Over time, this silently suffocates their delicate tissues. Alcohol in excess dehydrates and raises blood pressure, placing a double burden on your kidneys. I've had patients who swore that a nightly glass of wine was harmless, but the truth is, moderation is key. 1 drink a day for women, 2 for men, is considered safe for most people. But if you already have kidney issues, even that may be too much. Quitting smoking is one of the best gifts you can give your kidneys and your heart, and today there are more tools than ever to help. support groups, medications, counseling. I always remind people, it's not about shame. It's about freedom, about giving your body the best chance to heal. Then comes stress, the invisible toxin. Chronic stress releases cortisol and adrenaline, which over time push up blood pressure and strain the kidneys. Stress may not show up on a blood test the way creatinine does, but it leaves fingerprints on your health all the same. Managing stress isn't about eliminating life's problems, but about giving yourself anchors of calm in the storm. Some of my patients use meditation or prayer. Others enjoy gentle yoga, deep breathing, or even journaling. Margaret told me that she began joining a neighborhood walking group, not just for exercise, but because laughing and talking with friends soothed her nerves better than any pill. Strong social connections are a surprisingly powerful medicine, lowering stress and improving overall health. Finally, one of the most overlooked but vital habits, regular checkups. Kidney disease often sneaks up silently. You might not feel a thing until significant damage has occurred. That's why it's so important to check your blood pressure, blood sugar, and kidney function at least once a year. A simple blood test measuring creatinine and a urine test can reveal trouble early when it's still reversible. Early detection is like catching a small fire before it burns down the whole house. If you have diabetes, high blood pressure, or a family history of kidney problems, this is doubly important. Don't wait for symptoms. Protection starts with awareness. What makes all of these lifestyle changes powerful is not perfection, but persistence. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Small, steady steps compound over time, much like drops filling a bucket. Margaret didn't transform her health in a week, but month after month, with each sip of water, each walk, each stress-relieving laugh, she built a stronger shield around her kidneys. And you can too. The science supports it. In fact, a study published in the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology found that people who adopted healthier lifestyle habits, hydration, exercise, diet, and smoking cessation, had a significantly lower risk of developing chronic kidney disease. Science confirms what I've seen again and again in my patients' lives. Change works, even after 50, even after years of neglect. Your kidneys are resilient. They want to serve you for decades more. By giving them water, movement, freedom from toxins, relief from stress, and regular check-ins, you're not just protecting your kidneys. You're protecting your independence, your vitality, and your joy. When people ask me what matters most for protecting their kidneys, I often lean forward and tell them gently, food is medicine. The meals you choose each day are either nourishing your kidneys or quietly overloading them. I remember a man named Charles in his early 70s who came to me after being told his creatinine was creeping up. He said, Dr. Brian, I don't understand. I eat plenty. Meats, cheese, canned soup, frozen dinners. Isn't that good nutrition? What Charles didn't realize was that his diet was like pouring sand into a finely tuned machine. His kidneys were working overtime just to keep up. By changing his diet slowly, less salt, fewer processed foods, more fresh fruits and vegetables, his numbers began to stabilize. That's the kind of transformation I want for you too. The first big dietary shift is lowering sodium. Salt is everywhere, hidden in breads, sauces, canned soups, packaged snacks. Too much sodium raises blood pressure, which is like turning up the water pressure in an old fragile pipe. The kidneys, already delicate, strain against that force. Over time, high blood pressure damages their tiny filters. Imagine squeezing a sponge over and over under a strong faucet. Eventually, the sponge wears thin. That's what happens inside the kidneys with too much sodium. By choosing foods naturally low in salt, seasoning with herbs, lemon, or garlic instead, you can ease the load. Studies consistently show that keeping sodium intake under 2,300 milligrams a day, and ideally closer to 1,500 if you already have high blood pressure or kidney disease, dramatically reduces the risk of progression to kidney failure. Next comes embracing whole, fresh foods. This isn't about exotic superfoods or expensive supplements. It's about going back to the basics. Fresh fruits, vegetables, lean proteins, and whole grains carry nutrients in their natural balance, without the excess sodium, phosphates, and additives that processed foods pack in. Think of your plate as a palette of colors. Deep greens from spinach or kale, vibrant oranges from carrots or sweet potatoes, reds from berries or peppers. These colors aren't just pretty. They carry antioxidants that protect kidney tissues from inflammation and oxidative stress. A study published in Kidney International showed that diets rich in plant-based foods were linked to slower decline in kidney function. And if you worry about sugar from fruit, remember, the fiber in whole fruits slows absorption, keeping blood sugar steadier than processed sweets ever could. For someone with diabetes, this is crucial, since high blood sugar is a major cause of kidney damage. But here's a point where many people get confused. Protein. We need protein for strength, healing, and energy, but too much of it can overload the kidneys. When protein is broken down, it leaves behind waste, primarily urea, that the kidneys must filter. For healthy kidneys, that's manageable. But if your kidneys are already compromised, too much protein is like dumping extra trash on an already overflowing landfill. Over time, this accelerates damage. This doesn't mean avoiding protein altogether, but rather being mindful of the type and amount. High-quality proteins like fish, skinless poultry, eggs, or plant-based sources such as beans and lentils are easier on the kidneys than heavy fatty meats. Charles loved his bacon and sausage breakfasts, but when he swapped those out for oatmeal with berries and a boiled egg, his energy improved and his kidney function stabilized. Balance is the goal, not deprivation. Then there are two minerals that deserve special attention: potassium and phosphorus. When kidneys are healthy, they act like skilled gatekeepers, letting just the right amount of these minerals pass through. But when kidneys weaken, potassium and phosphorus can build up in the blood. Too much potassium, known as hyperkalemia, can cause dangerous heart rhythms, even sudden cardiac arrest. Too much phosphorus can weaken bones and harm blood vessels. This is why many people with kidney disease hear about low potassium foods and phosphorus control. Bananas, oranges, potatoes, and tomatoes are high in potassium and may need to be limited if your kidney function is reduced. Dairy products, nuts, seeds, and cola drinks are high in phosphorus. The key is not to fear these foods, but to understand your body's needs and adjust with your doctor's guidance. For some, low potassium choices like apples, grapes, or cauliflower become safer staples. What I always emphasize is that food should never feel like a punishment. Diet for kidney disease is about empowerment, about choosing meals that give you strength, not fear. I often tell patients, your plate can either be a friend to your kidneys or an enemy. Make it a friend. That might mean cooking more at home, where you control the salt shaker. It might mean shopping the outer aisles of the grocery store, where fresh produce, meats, and dairy live, instead of the middle aisles filled with boxes and cans. And it often means experimenting, trying new herbs for flavor, discovering the joy of roasted vegetables, or learning to love a crisp apple instead of a bag of chips. Charles, the patient I mentioned earlier, once told me, "At first I thought you were taking away all my favorite foods, but now I realize you were giving me back my energy." Within 6 months of changing his diet, his blood pressure dropped, his creatinine levels steadied, and he told me he felt lighter, not just in body, but in spirit. His story isn't unusual. I've seen dozens like it, because when the kidneys are supported with the right diet, the whole body breathes a sigh of relief. The science, once again, backs this up. A review in the New England Journal of Medicine highlighted that dietary changes, especially reducing sodium, moderating protein, and focusing on plant-based foods, are among the most powerful tools we have to protect kidney function. What you choose for breakfast, lunch, and dinner doesn't just fill your stomach, it writes the story of your health. And the beautiful part is, you hold the pen. So when you sit down at your next meal, I encourage you to pause and ask yourself, is this food easing my kidneys' burden or adding to it? Over time, those small decisions become the difference between rising creatinine levels and stable ones, between fear of dialysis and freedom to live your life fully. Your kidneys may be quiet, but they are listening to every choice you make. Give them foods that whisper kindness, and they will serve you faithfully for years to come. If there is one message I hope stays with you, it is this: your kidneys are not fragile glass ready to shatter. They are resilient allies longing to keep you strong. Even if you've been told your creatinine is high, even if you fear kidney disease, you still have the power to protect kidney function through the choices you make today. Every sip of water, every nourishing meal, every walk in the fresh air is a gift to your future self. So choose hope, choose health, and remember, you are never too old to begin again. Please subscribe for more.